Hey there, it's Laura Dominic. Thanks for joining me on a Plan for Joy podcast. Each week we'll be talking about things that will help you break the cycle of depletion. You know, the one that has you going from doing all the things to feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, resentment, anger, to sucking it up and starting all over again. And instead, learn to break the cycle and contribute from a place of abundance. Are you ready? Good. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to a Plan for Joy podcast. Today, I have a special treat for everyone. I have a guest in my podcast. Her name is Allison Girone, and we have virtually known each other for, we figured, almost 20 years. And so this is the first time we're actually speaking face to face, and I'm very excited about that. And I think you guys are going to like what she has to say. We're going to talk about kind of going along with the conversation I had last week about following your dreams. I've been watching Allison for the last couple of years transition from homeschooling mom to amazing photographer. So I want to just talk to her about that and hopefully give you guys some encouragement and insight on how following your own dreams can just open up new worlds for you. So Allison, thank you very much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Laura. It is really such a pleasure to talk to you and kind of see you and enjoy the fact that, we've known each other for a very long time. And I've always been such a fan of your blog and your writing and your photography. So
well, thank you.
I feel like we're kindred spirits.
Yes, definitely. So why don't we start? You could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, your homeschooling past, that kind of stuff.
Sure. I am a mom of 4 and married to my husband now for, 30 some years. And we started homeschooling. Actually, I always kind of thought that sounded like a great idea, but I was afraid, right? And a lot of times we need to educate ourselves over those fears. And so I had read Kimberly Hahn's book, and I had read some other Catholic homeschooling books by Seton, and started feeling that tug, and then met a lot of friends who were homeschooling. And I see that pattern repeating in my life of people who are encouragers, and that encouragers breathe life into your path. And so those women kind of helped me along at a time when, a little different from now, you were maybe a little bit more of a maverick when you were homeschooling. Mm-hmm. Today, anyone of any personality can find a home in homeschooling because there's so many resources. And This was maybe more at the beginning of it. So we homeschooled with a couple of different programs. Probably the bulk of it was Mother of Divine Grace, so classical education. Towards the end with my last student, we were involved in Homeschool Connections because she really loved being a part of those classrooms. And so great programs. Would love the way that homeschooling kind of met the needs of each individual child. And we did that throughout the 4 children's experience. And now they've all gone on to college at Franciscan University. And so the homeschool years flew by. I think there were 17 of them. Okay. And it's amazing to think that, I'm not buying curriculum anymore.
Right. I know. I'm almost at that point. It's kind of a weird sensation.
I was giving it all away recently. So I hope it blesses others. Yeah.
Right. That's what my plan is soon, is to just divest myself of all of that, those books and everything. So. Okay, so then what are you doing currently? I know I alluded to that, but why don't you give us the information?
So currently, I've been working in photography. I had a background in that. My college major was film studies. I loved photography. I got a camera from my parents for high school graduation at 18, and spent way too much time in the darkroom in college learning how to develop black and white, and just fell in love with the artistry of it, how it communicates, and kind of went in a route similar to that, to those interests when I graduated college. But then 4 children came along, and I photographed them. And now, full circle, I have one who's photographing with me.
That's so
So
exciting. Yeah.
yeah, so it's terrific that I'm doing this photography journey with my 3rd son, my youngest son, and we do weddings and church events, and primarily I would say Catholic photographers with a specialty in the Latin Mass. We'd done some family work when we were just getting our feet wet and learning about, customer relations. We still love to, photograph families and the love that is there. So that's where we are right now. We're doing photography as G photography and films. He does a lot of the films. And also on Instagram, we're known as @Latin Mass Photographer.
Okay. No, your work is absolutely beautiful. So I've been kind of like that through the years following your photography journey. So this is kind of something, the business was like a natural progression from your interest, or how did that actually come about? Like what was your thought process there?
Sure. Well, I think it probably goes back to a love for the Latin Mass, a love for the Catholic Mass, a love for Catholicism. I felt that those images were the most worthy of my focus. What could be, more worthy than, Christ truly present on the altar? So I started feeling this pull to taking images at Mass and images of sacraments, and priests who I would speak to would say, yes, these images plant seeds, go ahead. And I would get their permission to photograph.
Oh, okay.
And started sharing them online. And this bride kind of contacted me and said, here again, an encourager, contacted me and said, you're going to do my wedding. Wow. I know you're going to do my wedding. And kept saying to me, you can do it, you can do it. And I kept saying, oh, I'm not sure. I'm afraid that I could mess this up. I've never done a wedding before. And what if I miss a shot? She's, you're going to do it. You can do it. And she believed in me. And that kind of propelled me. And Johnny, my son, believed in me and said, you can do this, Mom. I know you can do this. We can do this together. So we had been doing, family shoots together. And we jumped into the wedding and fell in love with photographing that sacrament, that moment, a milestone moment for a couple where with Christ, the 3 of them become a family unit. And so we started doing wedding photography. And that's basically came about because someone encouraged us to.
Yeah, right. And you were open to listening. So that is...
I know people still laugh at me today saying, you used to say you would never do a wedding. And here I am now, fighting those words and saying, yeah, you can never say never.
Right. Just,
be open to the Holy Spirit working in you. Right.
Definitely. That's definitely, I've learned that lesson many times over. So, so when your daughter is your youngest, correct?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when she was entering her last couple of years of high school, what were you thinking, like as far as your future going forward?
It's probably a lot of thoughts. Probably like, what's next? Probably like, should I go back to some sort of a 9-to-5 job? Yep. Kind of like waiting for God, I guess, to speak to me and lead me. Because I felt like he had led me to homeschooling. So hopefully he would lead me again. And I guess the photography path just kind of presented itself with people saying, I'd really love you to photograph this, or I'd love you to photograph that. And so I just kind of rolled with it, I guess. It wasn't a pros and cons list and, some sort of a financial decision. It was more of like, where do I feel like I'm being led and allowing that to happen?
Okay. That's fabulous. So did you ever have what was your mindset like during this time? Were you kind of emotions were you having that during this transition, because it's really hard to transition from one season to the next, especially when you've been homeschooling for so many years. I've seen so many people just kind of fall off into despair, loneliness, depression, because they don't know who they are anymore.
Yeah.
I
think that homeschooling taught me that with time and patience, I would learn a lot about myself. And in homeschooling, I learned that when I had those self-doubts about, could I do this? That the more time I put into it, the more I realized I could do it. The more that I reached out to others with questions and asking for support and looking for mentors, they became available to me, and they became encouragers and supporters and helpers. And also that would probably be the way that it would work for me in a new career, that I would need to get through a period of self-doubt. And that, those reoccur. It always reoccurs.
Oh, yeah.
The imposter syndrome or whatever. So those still reoccur, but I look for ways to educate myself. I look for people to mentor me, for me to ask questions of. I'm in a situation now where I'm being able to be that person for others, which is also great, to encourage others, to mentor others. And so I think it taught me that there isn't only just one way of doing things, like education. In fact, I began to feel like education was a failed paradigm, and that I would be able to say, I don't have to buy into this. There's a whole other world of this. And it's kind of the way it is for me for photography too. There's not just one flavor. And photography for me is maybe more of a tool or a vehicle, because you can like a car, but unless the car takes you somewhere, it doesn't reveal anything, right?
Right.
And for photography to reveal the person who makes the image, it has to be born out of curiosity and passion. And so it's a tool for me to creatively show what I think is the good and the true and the beautiful of the Catholic faith. And it inspires me to kind of lift hearts and minds to God by archiving those images. And so I know my why, right?
Yeah,
and when we homeschooled, we had to know our why. So now I know my why for photography. So I think that was part of my mindset, was knowing my why, educating myself, finding encouragers and support, and believing, trying to believe that what I was doing had value.
Right. And I mean, anybody listening, if you've got a dream, those are excellent points to carry anybody into that. And so I think I've always said that your prayer life is the foundation of everything. And so to be open to the Holy Spirit and to be able to listen and reflect and do all of that definitely helps you.
Yeah. Reflection, such a big part of the deal. You're right, Laura. That really gives you the opportunity to reassess, and recommit. So much of homeschooling and photography is, recommitting each time you start.
Yes.
And learning and improving, right?
Right. Do you feel you're a naturally disciplined person, or do you think that following your dream has helped your discipline in any way?
That's a good question. I like the way you phrased it too. Yeah, I think I would say I'm not a naturally disciplined person, but I guess I have pockets of discipline. There's some things I am terribly undisciplined about. But with photography, like, I will be the disciplined one to say, I've got to get my gear ready. Are my batteries charged? Are my lenses clean? Do I have my cards? So, like, yes, I will be very disciplined about planning the whole timeline of the day for the wedding and working with the brides and having check-ins and conversations. So yes, that has created a disciplined path in my life that maybe I can bring into other areas if I try harder.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good question. Discipline is a part of it.
Yeah. And what I've come to realize too is that when you have that dream, it creates that discipline because it's something you're excited about. And so you want to spend the time doing it, and then you find the time to do it. And it helps you then, like you said too, to, for the most part, bring it over into other areas where you want to have it, So, I think a lot of times when we don't have a dream that we're following, we're more likely to be just kind of flying by the seat of our pants because there's no direction. And that's what the dream allows us to have, is focus and direction. So, so good. Yeah, that's
focus and direction. Yeah. And that's the perfect word for photography, is focus.
right.
That's what I love about photography, and especially church photography. And sometimes people will ask, do you feel like you can be as present to the Mass? And for me, it's that focus. I put my eye in that lens and I lose the periphery.
Right.
I'm so close into the mystery that, sometimes I'll cry, sometimes I'll choke up because I'm searching for the beauty. And I'm zoomed in on the beauty. And so it's almost like a hyper prayer. I remember a priest once said that about her work is a prayer in time. And that just spins in my head, that it can be a prayer.
Right. Having done photography myself, I've been very grateful to have that camera up in my face sometimes because I'm just sobbing.
Yes.
I did a lot of Catholic theater, and there was one production we would do, The Seven Last Words of Christ, and every time I'd be like just sobbing and like, okay, I'm just going to put my camera up. And
First Holy Communions, I get crazy. I just remember even recently there was a Good Friday, and I'm photographing a child kissing the cross, and I'm like, who is making those noises? It's me. I'm in the back of the church going. So it brings me into the moment.
Right. And I think that's definitely reflected in your photographs. So hopefully,
because, like I said, it comes from a deep passion and a deep love, a deep curiosity for the holy sacrifice and the mystery of faith. And it's not about techniques or doing the unusual. It's about the timeless and the eternal and the just the classical artistry of what you're seeing. Yeah.
And that's, I think the beauty of it too, is you can intertwine two important things in your life. So you've got your dream that you're following in your photography, but it's also entwined with your faith, which is beautiful. So like enriching your life, it's built into the job.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes I question, like, can I really call this work?
Yeah.
Because it's just so soul gratifying. Yeah.
Right. That's incredible when you can have both, that it enriches you spiritually as well as provides you something to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it is, I think, a way to offer the gifts that God has given me back to him. They say that, like, if you pray scripture, you're praying God's words back to him. And so they should be fruitful and multiply. So in giving my gifts back to him, I'm hoping that they will multiply and that they will be fruitful.
That's beautiful. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, we followed each other for a long time. So my book, the podcast I started here, my newsletter, all geared toward wholeness, helping women to become who God created them to be and live a life of wholeness, pursuing their dream. Because a lot of times that dream has been placed there by God, and it's just a matter of finding it and having the confidence, like you said, to pursue it, and knowing when is the right time. You know, sometimes you're going to have to back off. Sometimes you can go full steam ahead, depending on your season in life.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts about that? Anything you could impart, any wisdom you could impart, especially on those transitioning from one season to another?
Well, I think we've touched on some of that. You've certainly touched on it in your writing too, about knowing that it might not be the right time, and knowing, you know, that you may have to offer up that desire until it is the right time. And when God places something on your heart, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get there. You know, you can have it on your heart, but maybe there's some preparatory things that need to happen before you can go full steam into it. And so always knowing the why of where you are in your life right now. If I'm in the middle of homeschooling, then that's my why. If I'm
Right.
at a time where, you know, I can shift focus a little, then just praying on that and kind of testing the waters, asking questions, talking to people who are doing what you think you want to do, you know, and asking them, you know, what they love about it and what they don't love about it, and see if that resonates with you, and see if you see yourself in that path, and then taking those, you know, steps to put your toe in the water and
Right.
start and fail and start and fail and learn. And right, it's never just smooth. There's always a growing pain to anytime you're in a growing pain, then you know something's going to be born from you, right? It's like contractions, right?
Right, exactly. And failure, you brought up failure too. People are afraid. I mean, I know that was me. I failed once. That was it. I was done. That's it. Except for homeschooling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I managed to keep going in that, but it's that learning that failure is part of the process. And failure is a good thing, because it means you're doing something, right?
Right. You're learning from it, and you're going to make a change the next time. Like, you know, I'm always going to have extra batteries, and I'm always going to have extra SD cards, because if that fails on me next time, I won't be unprepared, right?
Right. Yep, definitely. Anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd like to share? And then if not, you can just tell us again more about where you're at, you know, reiterate that again, so everybody can go and follow and look at all your beautiful photographs. I mean,
thank you so much. Well, the other thing that I would say that I didn't touch on, that I think was a real beautiful side benefit, was that when I realized that my third son had an interest in videography, and I would see him, you know, as a child going around and making videos and things like that, it was such a wonderful opportunity to be able to work together and learn together. You know, because as a homeschool mom, I was able to kind of be the teacher or be the conduit to learning. And that also worked in photography, although he became the conduit to videography. He learned it all online and by mentoring with people, and would inform me. So it was really great to watch that dynamic kind of mature, where here we are both learning together, and we're both informing each other in different areas, and I loved watching it become his career.
yeah.
You know, something that we did together is now his career. And so I would say that it's a nice thing to be able to evaluate your children's gifts and see if any of them align with yours, and then share that experience together. That was a real gift in the whole learning to become photographers, and to share those skills with others, to be able to do it with my son.
Yeah, that is thank you for bringing that up, because it's been fun to watch that. Now, is it his wife too? Does she?
He is recently engaged, and she.
Oh, it's so okay. So it's another daughter-in-law, right?
Yeah. Oh, my other daughter-in-law used to work with me too. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
My second son's wife used to work with me. They've moved to Texas now, so it's not as easy for us to work
Okay.
together. But that was a real joy too, to be able to share that with her.
Yeah, that's just so exciting. And so then now it's your third son that works with you.
Yes, my third
And
son that works with me. And
is he the one who does the drone work then?
yeah, he does drone and videography. He's done some film work for the Massive Ages Project, and he
Okay.
does film work for the Norbertine Abbey, the St. Michael's Abbey out in California, and he works with YouTubers and things like that. And it's exciting to see his journey just starting,
right.
and wonder where it will take him, and what will happen with all of his skills, and how he can hopefully share his Latin Mass passion and Catholic passion to inform and archive the beauty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so neat.
And our website is gphotographyandfilms.com.
Okay.
And on Instagram, we are at Latin Mass Photographer. And we spend, Johnny spends a lot of time on the Instagram, and I think he kind of is to be congratulated on its growth, because I think the younger generation really gets that. So,
right.
Yeah. And I love working with young people. They keep me young.
Oh yes, definitely.
And they keep showing me things and informing me about how it all works and what works and what doesn't work. So it's humbling, right?
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But no, well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to talk to you and learn about how you've taken your passion, especially, like I said, over the years. It was always there, just in a different form because of other things going on. And then now it's been allowed to blossom. And I think that's what's important is, you're going to have a desire on your heart. And like you said, maybe it's not the right time for it to fully, be put into motion, but there's things you can do with it along the way to grow and learn and foster that desire. So
yeah,
that's a great testimony to that.
And I see that too with your work. All of your blogging and all of your emails have turned into these wonderful books and podcasts. And it's just been such a pleasure to be informed from you and to be encouraged by you as well too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So again, I encourage everybody to go ahead and look Allison up on the internet and follow her work. It's absolutely beautiful. And I thank you for taking out some time out of your day to be with us.
Such a pleasure and a delight. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yes, finally. And someday I'll get my family closer to you and we'll have pictures taken, because that's my dream too.
Oh, that would be so much fun to meet everybody, because I feel like I've watched them all grow up online. Yeah.
Right. I know. So, so thank you very much. And everybody, thanks for joining and listening, and go ahead and subscribe, leave a review, like this channel, all that good stuff. And then I will see you again next week. God bless.